What a wonderful day! As you guys may know, we are going to be reviewing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm going to read to you the synopsis and then we're just going to get into it. Synopsis says, many years after the reign of Caesar, a young ape goes on a journey that will lead him to question everything he's been taught about the past and make choices that would define a future for apes and humans alike. That was a very short synopsis that didn't really give too much. We've had better synopsis than that. But yes, from this point officially, we'll be talking about Planet of the Kingdom of Apes. So if you have not watched it, please pause this video and come back to it, as this, what we may say, will definitely 100% contain spoilers. So yeah, let's get into it. Like we always do, expectations. How were you lot feeling when this was decided that this was going to be a film that we're reviewing?
I guess I was a little bit excited because I haven't really watched. I think there's only been probably like one previous Planet of the Apes film that I've watched. It's not really a series that I've kind of been, keeping up with all the time, innit? But this time around, I was reading about it. I was thinking, okay, this one seems like it could be really good. And obviously, I was extra motivated because obviously doing it for a review and everything. So I was like, yeah, I really can't wait to see this. So yeah, I was thinking, I expected it to be, like levels, especially, in terms of like cinematography, CG. I was thinking, yeah, this could be really exciting.
This could be the one.
This could be the one still. That's how I was feeling.
Ash?
Yeah, funny enough, I do like these movies and I have watched them and rewatched them at some point. I was a bit nervous going into this one because in my head, I knew that in the last film, was it War of the Planet of the Apes, Caesar does die.
We warned
you.
you.
So I was like, how are they going to continue this franchise on without such a strong character like Caesar? So I was a bit nervous, to be honest.
I can't lie, I will relate with you in terms of both of what you guys said. I thought there's no way they're going to make a film of like the Planet of the Apes in 2024 and it's not going to take off, especially with the previous 3 movies that we got with Caesar. I thought there's no way that we're going to get something that was just not even up to par with what they've shown us so far. But then also thinking, oh, Caesar's not there and he was such a strong character, so what are they actually going to give us? And when we saw the trailers, I was thinking that, oh, that looks like Caesar's son.
Yeah, it does.
So I was thinking that's Caesar's son. He's going to continue the legacy. He's going to take things forward. And I actually went to see this one with Meda. And I was like, when like you're whispering, I was like, I think that's his son. And then the whole thing comes up about 300 years later.
Many
like,
generations later or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Like now we're talking, because that never crossed my mind. That's not what I expected. I literally expected his son, and then maybe towards the start I thought maybe grandson. Like I was thinking it was that short to his lineage, like you can trace it. But to find out we're getting this character called Noah that has no sort of relation to Caesar except being a chimp, that was it. That's all we got. And I did like how for me that was outside the box. I literally thought it would just be his son and we'll get some sort of so same. I did like how that was outside the box. But with this one, were you thinking more of, this is something that could be one of the films of the year, or were you thinking this would just be a decent watch?
I was not thinking film of the year because I just have this opinion. I done the review for Godzilla the other day. I feel like we might be past all the monster verse. I know that's not a monster verse, but all the big monsters, apes, animal type movies. I feel like we're past that era. So I was not thinking film of the year. I thought it was going to be fun. I thought I was going to go in and have a good time, but not film of the year.
I agree with you there. I think in terms of like using like animals and it becoming like big cinema and it completely like, oh wow, like that was amazing. I didn't think that, like I said, the 3 films before this one, they did so much with that. I was just thinking it cannot top it, but I just hope it will be level at least to be like, okay, this was a decent film. And I believe, in short, that's what we got. So when we dive into the plot and you actually think about what this film was actually about, what are your thoughts on it?
Bro, to be honest, there were only a few things that I liked from this plot. I actually got it written down. One of the things I liked was I liked the character development of Noah throughout this whole plot. Obviously, just seeing how he was at the start. Obviously, he seemed a little bit like shy-ish.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little brave, sometimes a little shy. It was just depending on the scenario that he's in. But obviously,
that's a fair assessment.
But obviously, but after like, you know, the things that he had to go through in terms of losing, you know, his father, his clan getting captured.
Can I just talk about how it started though? The film, I thought that first half an hour or maybe 45 minutes, I thought it was spectacular.
You thought it was that good?
Yeah, I thought it was that good, that first half an hour. I was just thinking, yeah, this is great, just simply because, like I said, it was just, I didn't expect that story. I didn't expect that, okay, so what we're looking at now, like, I'm just like, where are we going here? So that first 30 minutes, like, I was feeling like, okay, where's it going? And I thought it was really well, to the point that, you know, when he broke, his eggs cracked, the human, we find out her name is, what's her name in the end? May in the end, but yeah, they were calling her Echo at the time. Up to that point, then he goes out to say, I got to retrieve an egg before the morning. And then we're seeing other gorillas. I was like, hold on. Or other apes, what's going on? And then we see them with tasers, some sort of tasers, killing other apes.
Gorillas with weapons, you know.
And saying, in the name of Caesar. I just said, yeah, what is going on?
I didn't know what was going on, but they really did get me with, like, the egg breaking. I was like, I think I was the only one in the cinema that went, but I feel like everyone was very shocked because they really sold me the story of this bird clan and how much these eggs mean to them and stuff. So yeah, I agree. The first 30 minutes, like, it really sold me on whatever life this is that they're living, and I didn't understand what was going on. But yeah,
that was good.
At that point, I didn't really understand too much about why the egg was important. Like, I got it at that point. We've already met his dad and we've seen, you know, but I'm thinking, why is it essential? And then they were saying, oh, if you don't do it this year, you do it next year. I'm thinking, what's like the relation between themselves and the eggs? And then I heard something about bonding. And I realized, oh, this is like their, I don't want to say
Coming of
pet,
age.
but yeah, they're coming of age, sort of like, they have a bond with a bird, and then they're called the Eagle Clan. And that literally reminded me of Avatar: The Way of the Water, when they had to connect to those, you know, those things that they were riding, and they connected their tails. It literally reminded me of that. And when I did more research in this, it's the same writers. The same writers that the same writers that wrote Avatar: The Way of the Water is the same writers that wrote this film. So when
that makes sense,
they were making that connection between the animals and them, I was like, this writer got a thing for
this
animals.
is all making sense now.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. The writing, the cinematography, just the way everything, like, is very much Avatar: The Way of the Water, sort of, you know, sort of, I don't know the word to use, but not as good as Avatar: The Way of the Water, but you can tell there was like, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but there's just similarities.
Yeah, it had a similar vibe. Yeah, I had a similar vibe. Was you can say something?
No, I was saying another thing that I really liked. Well, one thing that I didn't really like was Raaka. I felt like as if he should have been in the film a little bit more. Should have given him a bit more scenes, because obviously by the time Noah's kind of met him, Noah's obviously, you know, this is when his development really started to take off, in my opinion, because now we started to get knowledge of what it was like, really during Caesar time, not this fake false prophecy that what's his name?
Proximus.
Proximus is trying to give out to people. It's like,
but at this point, we hadn't met Proximus yet with Raaka.
Wasn't he?
No,
we hadn't.
We hadn't.
Killed his dad and knocked him off the building. Or was that just
that was just that gorilla?
That was not Proximus.
That was a Proximus. That was just a gorilla.
Proximus Caesar is the one.
He's like, what a wonderful day.
That's
I thought he was part of the people that ruined the bird clan, but
that's like his right hand man.
Yeah, that's like his right hand general, but he was not he was not.
But yeah, obviously, but before obviously they've come to meet the enemy and that, I was thinking, like Raaka, like I wanted to see him throughout the film. Maybe if he like died or they disappeared in the end and caught it, but I thought it was too soon. It was too soon, and just the way like you just cut the rope and then he's gone. I was thinking that's kind of lame, man.
I didn't like that.
Like, man, like what else is he meant to learn? Like this guy was meant to be like his way of knowledge, you know, to try and emulate Caesar, because it seems that obviously they're gearing him up to be like the next leader in the next film.
There's something about Noah that I think even Proximus picks up later in the film, that he's smart.
That's why he likes him.
That he's smart. He's not just an ordinary like ape from the Eagle clan. Like there's actually something about him. Like he has wit. He has that also, like you said, like daring sort of nature to challenge things, question things. To he doesn't have that sort of Caesar. I mean, like Caesar's presence just commanded respect.
Yeah.
Noah's presence doesn't initially command respect.
Yeah.
But it's the way he then develops in the film to the point where in the end, when they're going back to where they're from, you can tell everybody respects him by that point. Yeah. Like for him to be able to bond with his father's bird was the pivotal point in the film, because that was like his own bird, his own egg that cracked. He didn't have a chance to actually bond with an egg and make that eagle kind of his. Yeah. But his father's one, so like, you're the one that I'm gonna follow. You're the one that I respect, and I think just that alone gave him the courage to do what he did in the film.
You think
so? Go on. Oh no, I was just saying about the bird. I like that earlier on in the film, Raaka asked him, "Oh, can you do the bird song? Like, can you sing?" And he's just like, "Nah, I'm not worthy of singing." And then by the end of the film, he's worthy of singing. He's worthy of his dad's bird.
Yeah, that just shows you the growth from that point to where he is to the end of the film. Like, it's completely different. You can completely see a different character. Yeah. But in terms of just like the fury around it, like the film plot wise, it kind of just made me think a lot, like, wow, this is literally what happens when someone comes up with an idea of how things should be and it just gets lost.
Looking at this, I'm just there thinking about like ISIS and all that stuff they're in, and like messages, like their ideology are just so, like the message that they're trying to give out to people is just so different. It's far from the truth.
And it's like you get a bunch of people that, for like, I'm telling you, I was shaking when they killed those, other apes and said, "In the name of Caesar." I just thought, wait, what's going on?
I thought, what is going on? What has happened? And it was very nice from the audience to know that's not what Caesar said. Yeah. I saw what Caesar said. Yeah. It's on Disney Plus. I saw what Caesar said a couple of days ago. So it's really nice to like be on the audience side, like, that's completely wrong. And what we don't realize, or what you just mentioned for here, is like people actually live lives like that, where they believe that the message they've got is the truth and they're running with it to do whatever. When there's probably people that were sitting back and be like, nah. I mean, when I say people, those people are dead now. These stuff are ancient things that were hundreds of years ago, where certain things are established and the message has been lost or just interpreted wrongly. I
just wanted to quickly touch on. No, in fact, you finish what you're saying. I knew
so that message, it just gets completely lost. So people actually live life like that, and it was just good to see on the cinema screen where everybody in the cinema could be like, what Ash said, that's not what Caesar said. That's not what Caesar is about. Who's going to stop this? Yeah, literally.
And it was when he had that chain that Raaka gave him. Yeah. Where he looked at that chain, he was like, "Yeah, this is the law." Because all he's been hearing is that, even from his mum, he's like, "This is the law that we have to follow," all that stuff there. But he knew that, this is law, but the law is wrong. Yeah. So I feel like that was obviously in addition to like him just like, his character.
Did you realize what that chain was?
Yeah, I knew. Did I realize what the chain was? Yeah. Not necessarily.
It was the window in the other film. So in the first film, Caesar's obviously brought up, but I forgot the guy's name.
James Franco, I'm gonna call him. That's the actor.
That's the actor, but his real name, not his real name, sorry, his name in the film, I can't remember what it is, that actually brings Caesar up. And he brings Caesar up in a house, and in that house, the top room in the house that Caesar looks out at has a window that's shaped like that. Okay. So, and I didn't really notice it at first, but then I think it's when he took it off and he put it in his hand, I'm like, wait, that looks like the window. So obviously Caesar's used that window where he bonded with a human and was like, humans are not that bad, we can live with humans, and use that as that's the symbol for we can live together side by side. Yeah. Points about this film where I thought in plot wise is a bit conflicting or a bit like, I'm not too sure what's going on here, is who do we want to actually have this power? Humans or
I feel like that's the whole point of the film. It's meant to have you conflicted, because I feel like in some parts they showed why you shouldn't really trust apes, but also with the humans. The
Why you
echoes.
shouldn't trust humans
Why you
as
shouldn't
well.
trust humans? Because, you know, if you remember at the end, she was ready to shoot his head off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? When I saw the gun behind her back, I said,
But then I
what?
thought maybe for protection. You never know. Like he's much bigger than a.
After he saved her life,
After
how
he
many
saved her
times?
life and she's been following him and everything.
So
all
why
like
did
that.
so why didn't she shoot him then?
Because I feel like she knows.
Because he gave her the thing, or what?
Yeah, and I feel like she's conflicted herself. I feel like she came in with an ideology that humans were once the superior race and will one day be the superior race again. And then she spent time with Noah and she's like, can we coexist together? I don't know.
But that's what Noah and his friends were thinking, that okay, this is the message of Caesar, that we can live together. It's only when they broke into that vault and then they're looking at books and seeing them in like chains and in
because they
in cages and that.
They didn't know the truth, innit?
Yeah, but they
the
see that now and they're like, wait, this ain't living together. It's like one side has to be dominant. Once they can't, like in my mind, even though that was Caesar's message, let's be real, I think Caesar's message is unrealistic. Apes and humans cannot live together side by side. I feel like Caesar was an exception to the fact that he was able to be brought up by a human. But even it got to a point where they had to put him in the zoo.
Yeah,
they put him in the zoo because he was just obviously causing too much. He's a wild animal. Although he may have this intelligence, he's a wild animal, and he made a few mistakes that end up making his owner be like, oh man, I have to put you in the zoo because you're just, unintentionally you're just moving a bit mad. But Caesar's under the impression that we can live together, and maybe that's not the case.
It's not the case.
Because one side wants to fight for superiority.
Yeah, in general, humans are always going to have an inferiority complex. And we know this just being humans. We know that we can't even live in a society without people being on top and making sure other people stay on the bottom.
But I loved it. I loved it with me as a human, seeing humans at the bottom. I kind of loved it.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah.
Seeing humans, like, when they obviously they lose their speech. We find out in the film War of the Apes, like what's happening. They lose their cognitive, like, part of their brain, and they can't speak. They just become like dumb. That's part of the feral. That's part of the virus that's gone around. So we see that in that film, and then to see it 300 years later, you actually have bush human people.
It's crazy.
Like, like
the way she was scavenging for that food and for that blanket.
Yeah, and not even just made the point that when we see them in like the pond and
with the zebras and
zebras.
The Americans.
We're English, bro. Yeah, the zebras. And you saw all of them. That's why she didn't really want to. Raaka was saying like, oh, this is your kind, this is your people, but she was like, no, my cognitive brain is still working. You know what I'm saying? Like, so she was literally curious to where what's his name again? Where Noah was going. That's why she's like, no, I'm trying to go where he's going. I'm not like the rest of them. But when those other apes came to like attack them or round up, I found it so funny.
And they just started running.
They just started running, literally like animals. Like how
they could do.
How like a pack of like deers would just run from lions is literally how they were running from the apes. Literally, they can't communicate with each other. They're just running like headless chickens, getting swept up. I just found that concept amazing. I've never seen humans, like, apart from maybe like zombie films, and even zombie films, is humans have their cognitive like side of their brain working. It was just refreshing to see us just dumb.
Yeah, I agree.
Literally dumb, and then something else just being superior to us and like making the plays and doing all of that. My only sort of like proper like question was like, how can they all speak English? Like, okay, fine, May can speak English, but why does Noah and Raaka and all the other apes, like, why do they also, is it because it's America? I don't know.
The first Planet of the Apes was set in San Francisco, so I imagine like Caesar teaches all his apes how to
English,
speak, and then it's just literally like
300 years it just goes
later,
down.
Everyone just
because I was just thinking that's crazy. Like, as soon as like May understood everything that they were saying, but pretended like she couldn't.
What did you guys think of May? Because I've got something for her. I didn't like her.
Oh no, I didn't either.
I didn't really like the whole like being silent and not saying anything for so long. I didn't really like.
I just didn't like her. I just didn't know where the energy came from. Like the vim her character had.
It's
like,
so random, innit? Like,
yeah,
out of nowhere.
and then when she strangled my man as well. I was just like,
oh yeah, like, yeah. Why are you
So what's going
Was
on?
Mama I think she was scared man was gonna snitch or something.
He
That's why
probably would have.
That's why she
Yeah.
He was like to her. I think he said something about
I told you many
never
times,
learn or
yeah.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah,
all
calm
that
down.
stuff.
I do think she's quite interesting because I genuinely thought what we were going to have is the family between Raaka and Noah and Nova. We're going to have this family. To see her actually turn on them so much, I wasn't expecting it. I thought it was going to be an Hollywood film, young girl saved by this ape. Great. So I
But
wasn't
in
expecting
the
it,
end,
so-
was her idea to flood them all out.
Bro, she wanted to.
She didn't care who died.
She didn't care who died. Like at the end of the day, she's human. Like she's an echo.
Because even at a point where Noah was like, May, no, she didn't listen to him.
She didn't listen, and it's like what Proximus said. Like you can't
Trust him.
trust humans, innit? And obviously she gave you like little bits where like she showed you like that you can't trust her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
yeah.
at the end of the day, like humans are always gonna feel like they're superior to these apes and they can get them down. So
Yeah.
Quick callback to War of the Planet of the Apes. There's a little girl in there called
Yes.
Nova.
Yes.
And then that's why they name every human Nova. And I thought
Nova.
the film had really good callbacks
Yeah,
to
that's
the
really
original
cool.
trilogy. And then I've not watched any of the historical 90s,
No, never have I.
60s versions, but loads of callbacks to those versions as well. So I actually feel like the director done a really good job, of
yeah.
like incorporating 9 different movies
Yeah.
and taking pieces from each one of them
Yeah.
and making
for
sure,
me, it was
yeah.
even just the last. Just I know you talked about he's done it with the old films, but me, just the last 3 films. Like Caesar's not around in this film physically, but we definitely felt his presence throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
The film was about Caesar without Caesar, and that was brilliant to me because I thought in number 3, War of the Apes, when we see Caesar like dying, I'm thinking, so what? How are they going to pick this up? I had all these sort of questions. How are they going to continue this? They're doing another film. Is this going to be his son? All these questions that I mentioned before, and I'm thinking they can't do it without Caesar because Caesar was so important. But they did do it without Caesar, but it was about Caesar.
Yeah.
So with like for me, that was just it was cold because I didn't expect any of that at all. So I'm very very happy with what I saw.
Did you think the plot was a little? Do you think the movie was a little crumbling, dragged out a little bit though?
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
and that's
Okay,
why
I thought I was the only one that because I was a bit annoyed because they definitely could have shaved off like maybe like 10-15 minutes of this film.
more than 10-15 minutes
I
they could have
thought-
shaded off.
I think when we got to Proximus Caesar,
It just became
I
a bit
think
too.
it just for me
plateau.
my interest was there. My interest was so there until we got to Proximus Caesar. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And to be honest, as a character, Proximus was probably one of the most like funniest, intriguing characters that we
Charismatic.
got. Yeah, that we actually got from this film.
Sounds like an African leader, bro.
Yeah, literally like a preacher, like
Man
you know, one of them.
finishes me.
Literally.
Oh my!
And he was probably one of the
God.
most interesting characters that we had in this film. But when we did come to like, okay, it's Proximus time.
Yeah,
That's when I kind of went.
I didn't feel him. I didn't really like him as like an enemy. I'm not gonna lie to you. Even like the fight scene at the end. I said, "You're going out like that."
You're getting beaten up by.
I
the
said, "I'm not
Eagles.
gonna lie to you." Like I thought even that ending. I thought that ending was so. I wasn't impressed. I said, "Okay." I said, "Cool, fair enough."
I get what you're
You
saying.
made the reference, obviously, to his dad, and obviously, like him showing that now he's basically grown up. All that stuff. They're cool. That's great. But I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I expected something just a little bit more epic because, bro, realistically, this small guy Noah, how can he defeat this giant gorilla? It's like David versus Goliath.
Yeah.
I was so excited to see how that planned out and just
Yeah.
to see that's how he killed him. I mean, okay, fair enough, but could have done.
And what happened to all the other apes?
The clans probably went back to the.
So the
homes.
Eagle
Yeah.
clan, I know they climbed up and they all got on that. But there was so many.
There's so many
Where's the rest of
different
them? Did they get flooded out?
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Gonna
I
find out
assume
next
so.
one, innit?
Yeah, but I
So-
do agree with you that it did drag out a little bit. Like I said, the first 30 to 45 minutes, it really grabbed me and I was thinking, yeah, this is absolutely cold. And then it got to a point in the movie where I'm just like, okay, you don't need certain scenes or certain scenes are dragging out too long and certain like fight scenes and like even when, you know, we're getting to the point where Caesar's fighting, not Caesar, Proximus is fighting Noah. I think I said to myself, another fight scene, because he
In
literally
what?
just finished fighting the big guy.
Yeah.
that
I
one
forgot
there,
his
yeah.
name. He just finished fighting him, and he ended up drowning. And it's like he's gotten away from that. We've seen that, and then now he's gonna fight Proximus. It's just like, oh
Yeah,
man,
like I would have preferred
Raaka.
Proximus and Noah to have that fight
in the
that
water.
my man had with the. I would have preferred that. That for me would have been a better ending. Personally,
to drown. Then
that would have been nice, and then obviously you can get the whole birthing afterwards.
Yeah.
Then it would have been like cool. But yeah.
In general, I just hate when any films, like Marvel does this a lot, where they will say something like, there's a book that we really need to get and that will save the universe, and then it was this vault that they really need to get into, and May really needed to get this. I think it was a book.
It was a tape.
It was a
something.
tape, and it did help her in the end. But it's just like we reached such, especially with Raaka and the three of them together. I was so interested, and then it dropped off a cliff when we were on the beach and whatnot. Yeah,
but we know we're gonna get more films from this one, and like Fahid said, I don't think Raaka needed to die in this film. We could potentially get 3-4 more.
He should have been at least like, even if he's not like killing them off so early, at least like let him make an appearance in like the next film.
Well,
and then you could have killed him.
She's gonna say we don't know he's actually gone yet.
I didn't necessarily listen out for this myself, but you know, at the end of the film, the screen goes black, and then you hear this noise.
I've heard
it's an orangutan noise.
So I waited to the end.
You probably, because I didn't catch it at first. It's only when I watched video, and it was an orangutan noise, essentially implying that Raaka's still alive, or at least Raaka's clan is still alive, and I'd like to meet him. All these followers of Caesar or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I think he's still alive.
Because we need someone to teach Noah more of the ways as Caesar. I think he knows a little bit more than he ever did before. But there's still so much more knowledge like that Raaka had to pass to him that he wasn't given time.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So that I feel like he could have been in a few more films.
He's probably not dead, I think. I feel like he might be alive. Like that the next film could probably start off with us like just seeing Raaka just on a beach or something.
Yeah, just rise up from the.
To me like,
literally, you never know, because I just thought, like that was too soon to see him go. But from what we have, Proximus Caesar, did he need to die in this film as well? No, he could have been a good arch nemesis sort of.
Could have stretched him out and just made him a bit more
across 2 films, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like, especially because Noah's now realizing he might be right about these humans, so I feel like he would have been a good ally
to have him around.
But then I feel like what we're ramping up to is that we're going to get another film, and then the final film is literally going to be apes versus humans.
But that was War
specifically.
That was War of the Planet of the Apes.
It was, but that one I really didn't enjoy. We went to go see it together.
She keeps on saying this. I never went to cinema with her.
We went to go see War of the Planet of the Apes together.
2017. I told her, show me the snap memory of us going to the cinema to see this film.
Why would I have a snap memory of that?
I don't know, but like I never saw this film with Ash. She's we never saw this film together. We didn't.
We did. Imagine he didn't remember you guys' years at school together. How hurtful would that be?
I remember all our years at school together. I'm telling you, things like this I remember. I don't know how you're gonna get me to remember this one, but
he's a joker. He's not a serious person.
But yeah, I don't remember the film. I don't remember the film. Sorry, I didn't like that third one as well. That was my least favorite, and I told Meda that.
You told me that as well. In the cinema.
Oh, did I? Yeah, did I?
No, that part I'm making up. But yeah,
she's just making stuff up. But yeah, I hope we actually get more of like a deep dive into how Noah grows in 2 and 3, and we just see more. I feel like this film had so much potential. It did okay, but it just fell a little bit flat towards the middle and the end. It was just like, okay.
Yeah. Just quickly, there was one bit that kind of made me laugh. One of Noah's friends,
Anaya.
Is it Anayo?
The guy?
At the start when he was saying, oh, Noah's scared.
Yeah.
Noah's scared. Yeah. And then when it came to the real stuff and he was asking them, and then Noah came to him because they needed to climb somewhere.
Yeah,
and he was like, Anaya's scared. I was thinking, right, it's always the loudest man in the room that's the weakest.
Yeah, it is.
I was disappointed.
But this film was directed by Wes Ball, who was also the director of The Maze Runner. Have you watched Maze Runner?
I have indeed.
And if you also look at like, in terms of like the scenery of Maze Runner, how everything looked, it's similar to how it looks. In this, I have a feeling that Wes likes these sort of like rundown, sort of earthy images with just trees everywhere, and just like I think that's sort of his signature sort of move. And I think it's the same with the director. He worked with the same cinematographer on The Maze Runner. It's the same cinematographer that he's used again. And that cinematographer was also in Jumanji and Shazam.
Yeah, I did want to say, like, with the cinematography, when you was talking about like the trees, the earthiness, you could even see that, like, the early parts of the film when they kind of showed the landscape to a degree.
Yeah,
I was thinking, oh, okay, this is really nice, because you know, when I was comparing it to, like, you know, the landscape of, like, when I saw Dune or Avatar, you know, I was thinking, you know, it's kind of up there. It's kind of up there, definitely.
And this film, like, if you see the CGI they used, like, it was fully CGI. Like, it's amazing.
It's really good.
It's amazing. I'm watching these YouTube clips of obviously them dressed up in, you know, when they're wearing like
black suits.
Yeah.
Got all these little things on them. Yeah,
they actually pull in the faces. Like, the actual ape faces. Like, I remember when we did do Avatar, and I've God forgive me for saying this, I was very harsh at the time, saying acting. I don't really think acting was there. There's a lot of acting in there.
There's a lot. You must feel like a real, like, you must feel like a bit of an idiot on set when you're going, like when you're growling and stuff. But they do an amazing job.
And that's the thing with Owen Teague, or I don't know how you pronounce his name. He played Noah. He actually he stayed in a sanctuary with apes for a while.
Method acting is going a bit too far there.
Yeah, he stayed in a sanctuary. I hopefully it was safe. I guess it was, because he's still alive. But I think before he shot the film, he stayed in a sanctuary for a long time with apes to kind of get that feeling of, you know, how they move, how they look at each other. Because you like in their eyes, they're so good, man. They're so good. So I was very happy with the performances. What did you actually think of the actors? I think we had Freya Allen as May. I know her from The Witcher.
I know. Have you watched that?
I've seen like a couple of episodes of The Witcher.
I've watched a couple of episodes and never quite grabbed me, but I did recognise her.
She's on that. Then we have Kevin Durand as Proximus Caesar. What a wonderful day.
I thought he was good.
He was good. And he's been on Big Mama 2, Scooby-Doo 2, and what's the other film?
Those are old films.
Proper old film that he's been on. And then we have Owen Teague, who I'm not
He's quite small of an actor to be given such a massive role, because we're coming from Andy Serkis as Caesar, and he's quite established in the field. So to have someone that's actually quite early on in their career, should I say, well done to him.
But in that sort of, obviously I don't know his personality, but that sort of, you know, like you said, he's not that much of a big star. That is literally like his character in the film Noah. It's not
true.
Yeah, no, he's not a big star. It's like, I'm trying to find my footing. So if this is Owen finding his footing, it's the same way that Noah found his footing in the movie. So it's quite fitting in that way. And then we had Peter Mackin as Raaka, and Peter Mackin was in Family Guy. I'm not sure who the hell he was in Family Guy. I don't watch Family Guy.
The voice sounded a little familiar.
Yeah, he's on Family Guy.
You know what? He might be Cleveland, you know.
Cleveland is McFarlane. What's his name?
Oh no.
Cleveland is Stewie, Peter, and Stan from American Dad. That's random, but he's also Cleveland from the Cleveland Show.
I need to find out who he was, but I know from here it says that he was on Family Guy.
I mean, this is just me, but I knew that the actor would be black.
I was going to say that
by the way that Raaka was playing the role.
Yeah,
and one thing that made me laugh, I think Nova was talking or May was talking, and they were both like, their eyes were just like, what? Yeah. And it's just like, what humans can talk? And I'm just like, going back to the whole idea of like humans being feral, that was just crazy to me.
He was holding something and he literally just dropped it because May spoke. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's like even a callback to when Caesar speaks in the phone. Yeah,
in the first
first film, and everyone's like, what? And it's like, what? Now humans are the ones that people can't believe, and apes can't believe that they speak.
Yeah, and we have to look at it from our perspective. If we were to get a monkey that spoke right now, we'll just be like,
I would bug out.
I'll just like literally. I don't know what I'll do. I don't know what I'll do.
I'll be like, done.
Literally, I don't know what I'll do. But do we have any numbers on this one?
We do indeed. So the budget was 160 million. Not hard to believe. We spoke about landscape, CGI and everything. Mm-hmm. So well done. So far it's made $237 million worldwide, and it's made a profit, become the 8th highest grossing film of 2024. Do you want a quick roundup of the list?
Yeah.
Number 1 is Dune Part 2. Number 2 is Godzilla X Kong. Number 3, Kung Fu Panda. And then there's
Films that we have all reviewed on the movie club.
ones that I don't recognise because I think they're thing. YOLO, Pegasus 2, Article 20, Boonie Bears, Time Twist, and then we go Kingdom of Planet of the Apes, Ghostbusters, which we didn't do, and Bob Marley, One Love. But yeah, it's the third best opening weekend in the franchise behind Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
Third best. What's the first?
The first was War of the Planet of the Apes, I believe.
Really?
I might be wrong.
I think maybe because it's the third film anyway, there's so much
Yeah.
anticipation behind it, even though it let us down, but fair enough. For his, any reviews for us?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, mad. I just look at the first picture that came up on my phone.
It's a picture of Havertz. But
Oh god, yeah.
Sorry. I love it. All right, cool. So the first one is they gave it an 8 out of 10. They said it's unique and beautiful. They start off by saying, I found the story very unique and interesting. I've never seen that movie before. I think it's fantastic. The monkeys were so extremely realistic and in so much detail. It was a long film, but you were completely absorbed in the story, which made the time fly by. I watched this movie because Wes Ball directed this movie. I was pleasantly surprised. It was a fantastic movie. I really like the characters. Raaka has a place in my heart, but I don't think he got the scenes that I think he deserved more than that.
Yeah.
Also like that there were different kind of species in the movie. It was a good movie. They gave it 8 out of 10.
Okay.
And the
A bad one.
yeah, this one they gave it a 4 out of 10.
Oh wow.
They literally posted this review on the 16th of May 2014. Must have 2024. Wasn't as good as I was expecting. They go on to say, I went into this movie expecting a lot. Maybe that was part of the problem. I recall loving the first movie, enjoying the following movies enough. However, the movie itself, from CGI and staging perspectives, was quite good. Yeah. But there were many times throughout the movie that made me feel left out, or that the plot didn't answer the questions I had. There were several times in the movie where I felt betrayed and pranked by the characters, from both the antagonist and the protagonist.
Betrayed?
So, yeah, I don't know, man. They go on to say, so it was difficult to attach myself to one side or the other. Conflicting feelings.
Yeah. That's true. I thought that was a good point in the film.
Yeah. Once I hit that point, I basically gave up trying to enjoy the movie. Overall, I wouldn't consider this movie a waste of my time, but I would not recommend it, and I have no interest in seeing it again.
Oh wow. I thought that was a bit harsh.
That's very harsh.
The points that he was saying that made him not like the film is the points where I liked the film. Like, it was hard for me to choose which side I actually
That's
wanted
literally
Yeah.
is that you're
to
meant to be
prevail.
conflicted, yeah.
That's part of, you know, the beauty of the film. So yeah, I just think he's being harsh there. But yeah, final ratings. If we move on to our own final ratings, Ash, you go first this time.
So I gave it a 7 out of 10, which is low considering what we've just discussed, but I just I wasn't really engaged in the like final third or the final half of the movie. But I think thematically it was great. This idea of like legacy and someone's legacy being used to like inspire people, and otherwise their legacy being wrongfully interpreted. It was just, yeah, thematically the film was like a 10. It's just the plot was, by the end of the movie, I didn't really care anymore.
I gave it, I would give this film an 8, but I can't give it, I gotta give it like a 7.5. Just because if I didn't really like how it ended, that kind of left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth, because I felt like they could have done more with that. I felt like they could have done more with Raaka as well. Obviously, like I said, you know, I like the idea of of legacies, you know, being able to impact a person, whether they choose to do right or do good. And it's nice to just kind of see just how different people interpret different things and the messages that they send out to people. I thought that was pretty good as well. But yeah, 7.5.
Okay, I've given it a 7 point. You're gonna think it's quite random, but 7.7.
I was thinking that as well, I can't lie.
It's like it was on its way to an 8 just by the way it started, and just me being intrigued, me being conflicted. Like, I had loads of feelings, and I was just like very, very like happy with how they pulled this out of the bag to make this about Caesar but without Caesar, I'm just like, I'm still tapped in. I'll still watch this film after this, and probably the film after this as well, because I do feel like there's a higher ceiling to go. I hope that it goes into higher heights and it doesn't start off here and goes downwards. I just hope it continues to, hit that trend in terms of going up. But I can't get away from the film going a bit flat towards the middle and dragging out just a little bit. And like actually towards the end, it's just like, just hurry up and wrap it up.
This film was how long? Was it like 2 hours, 35 minutes?
Not 35 minutes,
Something
just
like
over 2 hours.
25, it says, but just over 2 hours.
This film should have been like 2 hours 10.
Yeah,
something like that.
or something like that, as close to 2 as possible. It didn't need to be that long. And if it was short and concise, I probably would be saying 8.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just misses on 8. Just needs details.
So overall, that gives us a 7.4 on the Movie Club UK. That puts it at...
What's that?
7th place. It puts it at 7th place. So
in the all-time ranking.
And for this season, 7.4. Oh, I don't even know where it puts us this season. I don't even have it in front of me.
Don't worry, next time you'll have that ready.
Next time I'll let you know. But it should be on the screen anyway where it comes out. I reckon off the top of my head, that's going into 3rd. I reckon.
I think the rating for the movie is fair.
Yeah, 7.4. I think it's fair as well. I think the general consensus around it, Rotten Tomatoes 89%, which is really high, and I think IMDb is like a 7, just a flat 7. So I think 7.4 is all right. I'll remind you of all our ratings on our all-time list. We have Dune number 1, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse at 2, Avatar: The Way of Water at 3, Oppenheimer at 4, Creed at 5. The more I see Creed
How is Creed still so
the
fine?
more
We were so
I just feel
excited.
like because it was our first film and podcast, like
So excited.
yeah, we need to drag that down. But anyway, I think maybe towards the end of the season we might have to have
Reorganize.
another revote on Creed, whether we're happy for it to
films,
stay where it is. We have John Wick at 7. Just John Wick at 7. John Wick at 6. Sorry, and what we just reviewed now, Kingdom of the Planet of Apes at 7th. Then we have Saltburn 8. We have Challengers at 9. We have Equalizer at 10.
Challenger's 9. Wow, that should have been here. That disgrace of my film.
Yeah.
Oh,
We got
my.
Wonka 11, Barbie 12, Super Mario's 13, Argyle 14, and The Boogeyman 15.
Boogeyman stinks.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about the Boogeyman.
Oh my God.
But that is our final rating. Like I said, you'll see the leaderboard for this season. I just don't have my notes in front of me right now. But yeah, thanks you guys so much for watching this one. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Later.